watching. I'm Marie Zamecnikova, and I'm the CEO and founder of Olivie Ltd, which is a leadership transformational company for entrepreneurs, founders, and leaders like you are or you want to be, and who wants to actually create or upgrade their personal brands and lead with authority. So I realized that it's really important nowadays to have your personal brand and to show people how you can lead in the 21st century a bit different, because there are a lots of challenges currently in the world. And I also combine it with the health, the most precious thing on the world that we actually have, and how people can be healthy leaders of modern history.
Perfect, Mary. So you are just the perfect guest to learn from about leadership. You have founded Marie Olivie Limited at just 25, which is an extremely young age, and grew it into a successful venture while working with clients like European Commission, NATO, and UCB. So, Marie, what gave you the courage to start so young, and how has your vision for Marie Olivie Limited evolved since then?
That's a really good question. I actually founded my first company at the age 17, but
Oh,
it was actually like just a school project where I studied high school of tourism. And it was just because I wanted to learn languages, I wanted to travel a lot. And we got an idea with two other classmates that we will launch a school tourist agency, so that we will actually bring our experience from the school to practice, which can then be as a heritage for other classmates, that they will be like, for example, doing the itinerary and take kindergartens on the trips somewhere in the Czech Republic. So it was my first business experience, but I was always like perceived as more stable in my family. By my family, they always thought that I will be rather an employee. And it's rather my brother who is more entrepreneur because he's man and these kind of things. So I was like kind of categorized as an employee style, and I wanted to continue with my university. I wanted to check all of the boxes in the society, such as to finish the bachelor degree, master degree, and then I was traveling a lot. And when I finally graduated from my master degree, after also doing a lot of internships and being active, I actually ended up unemployed. So it was really hard for me because I checked all of the boxes, and I had a distinction at the university. And then I was just sitting at my apartment and unemployed in Brussels alone without family. And I started to draw. So I started to draw what I see around myself. I was really always proactive. And it was also the time was COVID. So it was not a really pleasant situation to be unemployed. And I didn't know anything about branding or marketing, but I just started to express myself on social media. And people started to notice it. People started to actually see what I do. And then my first client approached me that they want my services. And I was like, okay, maybe this is actually the way to do it. And I went just head on. And my first client was actually European Commission, and they are also my client since then. So it was a really important client for me to launch this lifestyle, and I would never go back. Actually, I actually also find out inside me that these kind of categorizations, like that you are meant to be employee or you are meant to be entrepreneur, every time like we are able to learn these skills. I also thought always that I'm not good in sales, I'm not good in business, I'm not good in this, and it's just the affirmation that we are actually creating in our heads. So it's just like to overcome this limiting belief and start it as, for example, my journey was like this.
Wow, Marie, that was extremely inspiring. Being told always that you are an employee material and then coming off as a successful entrepreneur. And European Commission is huge. That is a very, very big achievement. So congratulations on that. And I believe if European Commission saw your potential, each and everyone around you is gonna see it at a much higher level, knowing that you got approached by them. So thank you for inspiring us. That is indeed amazing to know more about. And I, since I met you before personally at an event, a tech innovation event called Supernova, and I knew the story before, I wanted more people to know about your story. The fact that you could actually tick all the boxes in university, be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be the best person in university, and then having life come to us going like, oops, sorry, you're not going to get a job, is scary. Currently I'm in that position, so I'm yet to graduate, but I am an international student, so I need sponsorship, I have language barriers, and I'm already worried. I can't lie to you, that's something that scares me. And I feel that that little idea, knowing that you could be unemployed, either could drown you, the whole negativity, or can lead to something as beautiful as you did, resulting in creating a job for your own self. So, Marie, that you are extremely inspiring for doing that.
Thank you. And you should start posting on social media because, like, you never know which opportunity you will find out there.
Definitely. I am gonna get inspired by that and start posting soon. I promise. And you work bridges your work bridges the tech, health, productivity, and personal branding. Firstly, that's a lot of sectors to be working for. So wow. How do you define success for your own self and of course for the clients who you are working for?
I mean, it's very different. So, like, I really have like client-centric approach. So when somebody works with me, I pay really attention to details. I want to deliver the best work, etc. So, like, of course, like for the client, the success is slightly different than for me personally. For the client, it's usually measured by the KPIs, like how their brand is rising, how much people are actually interested in the brand that we are building. So it's very much data driven when it comes to the success. But when it comes to me personally, a lot of people and especially entrepreneurs, they see success as the final destination. That, for example, like when I will have my first million, when I will get that dream car, when I will finally like launch that product. And they usually define the success as the final destination, as a dream, as a goal, and then it's very volatile because if you don't reach that final destination, you can actually burn. You can burn the bridges not only of your business but also of yourself. And here is the bridge between the health and the business, because a lot of people, they undermine their health during the journey, and business is nothing else than a journey, and the same is the health. So we need to pay attention to ourselves, so how we are taking care of our health, how we are, for example, like if we are working out, if we are eating healthy, so that we can show up on the top for ourselves and for our business on daily basis. And it's the journey that is the success. It's not the final destination. The final destination is the fruit that you eat at the end, but the journey needs to be fruitful. You need to enjoy it. You need to feel that there is the purpose, that like when there are bad days, when you, for example, are also in the red numbers, that you still are continuing and you see the vision behind, but you are also able to adjust. So for example, to say, yeah, this, for example, doesn't work. We tried. It was also with innovatology. So we actually met together with Ayushi when I was also CEO and founder of innovatology. And we were investing in this project. It was about to bridge the digital gap in the member states in the European Union. We were very much interested in where the artificial intelligence is heading. We had podcasts and vlogs and these things, and we were investing in it. But after 1.5 years of having this project, we didn't really see any return of investment. We really didn't see how we can, for example, do more of sponsorships, etc. And also, when I sit down and I just put pluses and minuses, what it brings us, whereas what we are losing, it was not really the dream that it was bringing me, because I imagined innovatology in Silicon Valley in the US, where
Yeah.
actually like somebody like if you want to work for Elon Musk, you would be interested in innovatology, and this is not really the niche that I want to bring up that much. And I was like, yeah, I'm more like holistic. I want to do more with the business, with health. And therefore, then enforced more Marie Olivie Ltd. And then we said in January all right, like we need to focus more in one thing. We should not like split around different projects. And we ended innovatology in January. So it's
Mhm.
also about like really be sober and
Mhm.
to close the project when you don't see anymore the value
Mhm.
for yourself or also for the community and the society where you are actually heading. Because sometimes people are like, oh my God, I invested like so much time and so much money and I need to keep going for years and decades, and then you are just heading to somewhere where you maybe even don't want to be. So this is
And I believe it is so good that you have the clarity that like you could stop at the right time. So that knowing when to stop is also important. So, and the fact that now all your energy and resources are focused on Mary Olivie Ltd makes it important. I think now Mary Olivie Ltd will get the proper exposure and the time from you that it needed to flourish even better. It's
yes.
definitely one of the best stories that I have heard now. And when I met Marie in Supernova, it was actually when I had just done my second year of university, my bachelor's, and I had no idea why I was there. I was just going around talking to people, and then I bumped into her and I heard her story. The story that she just mentioned as to how the whole after graduation thing went about for her. And I was like, oh my God. And then I found out the other story that she came up with two whole companies was like, okay, so this is inspiring. This is something I should remember. If it doesn't work out, you make it work out for you.
Mhm.
And I'm super sure that Mary Olivie LCD is going to be that for you.
Yes.
And as you said, you are a holistic leader. So, how do you practice leadership? How do you motivate the team and the people around you to grow without having burnout?
That's a really good question, and I have to mention that the female leadership is different than for the men. Men leadership is different than female,
Mm,
and I would take it. A lot of people see it as a weakness because I'm woman. I cannot get into the rooms that I would like to. A lot of
mhm,
people they see me as like a little girl, blonde little girl who cannot lead, a little girl who doesn't have enough experience, and I went through this all. So men usually get bigger responsibilities than me, for example, in different companies because I was just a woman. But I always saw this as an opportunity because this always gave me the opportunity to stand by myself, to speak up, and
mhm,
whatever I was always thinking that if somebody, for example, was undermining my capacities or expertise, I usually speak up what I think and what I believe.
yeah,
And then when you start to practice these kind of situations, it also helps you in the leadership of your team. So, for example, Mari Olivie Ltd currently have 20 people in the team,
yeah,
and it's where I also can then project all of my experiences from the past on the team. So
yeah,
we really have we have always like the spaces where people can, for example, complain or where they can send compliments or
true.
where they can brainstorm, and
Yeah,
it's a more of a democratic leadership, so that everybody in the team has their own voice, and we also have like status calls, etc. And I am trying to be the leader as I always wanted to be led by, because many times I had a lot of disadvantages in the past that I never really had really like a good manager or somebody who I would be like, wow, yeah, this person, like I want to be like that person. On one
mhm,
hand, it's good because on one hand it's good, and on the other it's not. It's not because like you don't feel really good in that situation. You, for example, can be suppressed with your voice. You might not need to get your ideas to the reality. But
mhm,
on the other hand, it always led me to think outside of the box and
mhm,
to start my own venture, because I was always like, yeah, I don't want to be like this when I will have
mhm.
my own company, and I
True.
took it as like pluses and the minuses, and I took from this experience to then be
Yeah.
better in my own business. So this is important to mention that the female leadership needs more leaders like you
Yeah.
are, whoever is currently watching, because we need to also stand by ourselves. We need to speak up when there is something which is not right. We
Mhm.
should say it clearly, because there is also a big opportunity that other people in the room or in the meeting, online meeting like we are right now, people think the same. Like they are also afraid to say it out loud. But if you do it behalf them, you are already perceived as a leader who think the best for the community, for the people. And it doesn't mean that you need to be a leader because of your title, because you are on the top. You can
Yeah.
be also leader if you are in the bottom, if you are assistant, if you are community manager. You don't need to have a title of a director or CEO in order to be a leader. And right now, you should take this opportunity as a recently graduate or even being in the school to actually try and practice these skills that you can then project uh, the the practice
Yeah.
afterwards.
Wow. And I would like to know a little more about how female leaderships, I'm not being discriminate, but I feel they can lead to more uh, safety in terms of preventing mental breakdowns, burnouts. Can you please tell us more about how it should be practiced correctly? Like what exactly are the men missing out on when
Yeah.
they don't follow our special skills that female leadership follows?
Mhm. Yeah, this is my specialty. I love to speak about this because definitely my body as a female leader doesn't work the same as a male. There is not a lot of studies about it yet published because we didn't study a lot women yet, but we know already that women works differently. They feel different. We are more empathic. But it's not a disadvantage. It's advantage in the sense that we can, for example, sense the room. We can really like a feel what is behind the scenes, what is between the lines, and this is our superpower. So, for example, if somebody tell you like, yeah, you are too emotional, you are like, yeah, it's your hormones, etc. No, it's this kind of sense of between the lines, behind the scenes that you can actually sense. And if somebody tells you something like this, you should again put it back into your barriers. Please don't speak with me like this. I'm totally normal. I'm female leader. I'm not male. And this is
Yeah.
the only difference. And I have this in my advantage. We as a female leaders, especially, we need to bear in mind the different stages of our lives and also of our period, if I may be this open. And it's that
Yes.
I really track in my calendar in which stage of my period I am to track the activities that I do then for my business. It seems like a bit a lot, but it makes complete sense because, for example, if I am traveling when I am in the wrong stage of my period, I can then get very tired, very much burnout. And it was also last month. It happened to me that I should be in the workshop for the ice bath. And I was really like hesitant about going to this workshop where we needed to be 10 minutes in the ice bath, like 2 degrees.
Yeah.
And I was really like looking at where I will be in the stage of my period in order to go to this workshop because we were recording some footage. And
Yeah.
it was exactly when I was in ovulation. And in ovulation, you should be exposed to the stress, you should be exposed to the uncomfortable situations because this is where your testosterone is the highest. So women actually have testosterone, they don't have only estrogen. And
Mm-hmm.
this is one of the biggest misleading information that women actually believe, and men as well, that women have estrogen and men have testosterone. However, during our ovulation period, we have testosterone too. And this is why we are more masculine, we are into more action, more thinking forward. And this is why it's very important to understand our cycle because then we can actually use the hormones, and
Yeah.
hormones is nothing else than the life, and we can use it in our advantage to achieve our dreams, our business. And
Mhm.
when you understand these basics about your period and you actually then put it in your calendar of your
Yeah.
business, you can then also navigate more stressful periods, etc. And it worked for me pretty well when it comes to the planning. And of course, like not every time everything goes perfect because I have a lot of clients, a lot of meetings. So not every time it goes according to my expectations. That yeah, I wouldn't put like in my luteal phase like 1 week off. I think that I would also not move a lot of bridges.
Yeah.
So it's rather like to bear in mind this, and to it's not that I'm like more in background, that I don't expose myself that
True.
much, but I'm going more. I'm still like going to the conferences and still going to meetings, but I prioritize the self. I prioritize the self. That, for example, I go more to sauna. I don't do that
Mhm.
much the weightlifting, and so that you prioritize the self care more.
Marie, that was something I have read about it, but to be honest, I've never heard someone implement it actually. So you are someone I would love to know more about the other phases. Like you gave us a detailed explanation about the ovulation side. Could you please tell us more about the other sides so girls like me
Yes.
can also implement that in our regular
Yes.
life?
Yeah, they actually find out that and there is a study currently that like everything in the world has a season. So we have a weather seasons, which are four. So you have summer, spring, winter, and autumn. Also, moon has a four phases, which is the full moon, half moon, etc. You have four phases of the moon,
Mhm.
and the women's cycle also have a four phases, which is right now. The first one is the bleeding phase when you are like in period. Then you have the ovulation, luteal phase, and then there is so you have like the week when you're bleeding, the week after the bleeding.
Mhm.
Then you have the luteal phase, which is before your period, and then there is for one. I would need to find the exact how they are called. I think follicular phase. But
Yeah.
let me just put it into the exact. Yeah, we have the follicular phase, we have luteal phase, period, and period bleeding, and so there are four phases. Like just to put it short, we have a four phases
Four phases.
also in our
Yeah.
period. And there is a big connection in the
Mhm.
nature and also in our bodies. So it means that when we are after our period, we have a week when there is we are the innocent girls. It's the week when we are like blooming with all of like a flower, and like we feel more like connected to our inner child, and it's like
True.
I can breathe again. Then there is a week of ovulation where our testosterone is rising, and it's where we feel powerful, where we feel the mother, the sexual energy. Depends, of course, like if you want to have a children or not. So it depends where you want to actually channel this energy, because during the ovulation phase, we are really powerful. There is a lot of testosterone, and it's usually where the body is preparing to have a children.
True.
And if we are not having children in our modern world, then we have so much of this power which we can channel somewhere else, and this can be in the
Definitely.
business, in leadership, etc. So
Yeah.
it's important to understand this big energy spike. And then after the ovulation, you have the luteal phase, which is before your period. You feel crampy, you feel like moody, sometimes even like really that you have a taste for the things, and it's the phase of the witch. So it's usually like a lot of people, they see the luteal phase as something negative. That yeah, I just need to like survive. I don't like it, but it's actually where the body is making the transformation, and it's where we start to be magical. So we should see it more as a positive phase, because we are more empathic, we are more sensing the different energies around us. And then there is the bleeding. So this is the period. It's where we usually are in the phase of when we are usually in the phase of being devised, and we already
Yeah.
are better than the
Yeah.
previous stage. But it's also connected not only to the four stages of our period, is also connected to the first stages of the woman life. So we as a women have a four life stages. So you could see that, for example, men, they have always the same stage of life. If they are 60, or if they are 6, or if they are 20, they are
Definitely. Yeah.
still the same. But
Yeah.
for us as a women, our body is changing, and we have a four different stages of our life, which is same as our period. So actually, we start as innocent girls. So when we get our period and
Mhm.
until we get into the motherhood, we
Consent.
are the innocent girls. We
Yeah.
are like an inner child. We are like
Mhm.
naive. We are like jumping around, exploring the world. And then
Mhm.
we are going into the second phase, which is like evolution, ovulation. And it's a where we again, where we are usually mothers. So we
Yeah.
approach the stage of the motherhood, and
Mhm.
it's then going into the premenopause
Yeah.
stage, which is
Mhm.
the stage of the witch. And it's usually where a lot of girls they start to be crumpy because it's around like 40 years old age, and
Yeah.
they already think like, yeah, like all my life is already gone, and like I am around like 40 years old. But it's again like the luteal phase that a lot of women they feel that it's negative, that
Yeah.
they feel that there is a lots of like crampiness, and like there is also a lot of hot and cold, and like
Yeah.
temperatures. But it's actually the most powerful stage of the life of a girls, because there is this transformation,
Yeah.
and it's there is such a big energy happening in our body, because all our lives we have a period, and there
Yeah.
is so much energy coming into the exchange of the periods in our ovulatory system, that
Yeah.
then when you have menopause, this
Mhm.
ovulatory system is like stopping, but it
Yeah.
means that there is so much energy that it's coming to actually produce for the business or for the leadership. And lots of girls that are like, my life ended, and it's like we should see it rather more positive in this sense.
Yeah.
And then after the menopause, there is the stage of the wise woman, so it's like a bleeding, so
Yeah.
where we are actually smart, wise, etc. And it's also a very powerful stage. And it's also really important in terms of the leadership to mention that we are currently living in the male dominated world. And for the men, the most interesting stages of the woman life are two out of four. It means the innocent girl, which is naive, because she is very much manipulative. So
Yeah.
you can like do with her a lot of things. Then the second stage, which is very interesting for the male-dominated world, is motherhood, because this is where we provide assistance. This is where we care about men,
Yeah.
and then usually men are fearing the last two stages, which is the
Yeah.
witch and which is the wise woman. So
True.
this is why a lot of women they feel that they don't have enough time in their life, because actually like after 30 years old your life ends according to male dominated world, because then you stop being interesting. And there was also like in the history there was a witch hunt, and there was also it was also for the reason because
Yeah.
we start to have really big amount of the energy which we can produce in the leadership, which we can produce in the business. But
Mhm.
currently, this energy is very suppressed. There are a lot of revolutions currently ongoing in the
Mhm.
female leadership, because we can see more and more women are being used in the CEO
Yeah.
positions, senior positions. But it's currently changing, but it will take time. And
Mhm.
for ages and the centuries, this energy was actually suppressed. And right now is the time where we should take this into our hands and like
True.
see that we don't only have like 30 years of our life, we actually live normally like 80 years plus, and we should take it into the opportunity and live it
True.
like
Yeah.
fully.